And but we did almost double our project size, number of projects, as well as volunteers. So that was super cool. And else asking me to ask you something. And so oh no. And so that was really cool. And a few of our projects, I mean, we just made some really great connections with some local I can explain later kind of areas and people in the city that we're just so thankful and thrilled. And these will be ongoing projects for each year. So definitely added to the annual projects and people that we can help. So that was cool.
Gail, about how many volunteers did you have?
We had over 200. And I don't know exactly, we did have, quite a few that just showed up to the projects.
Of course.
Really encourage them to go to our Susie Q, which is our community center. That's where we start. It's kind of the best place. We did, have more city buy-in, which was great. We had more city council there this year, and that were really excited about it. And I just felt like the energy was awesome. So positive, and everyone was just so thankful, especially the projects that we did.
This was year 2?
This is year 3.
Year 3, very good.
Year 3, yeah.
Jamie, about how many volunteers did you have for Orange?
We totaled 460 and 22 projects.
Excellent, very good. Chris, you had a whole month of different volunteer opportunities throughout the whole month of celebration. I love that theme for the month. Can you share a highlight from this past month?
Yeah, so we kick off the month with something a little different, and we call it Community Communion. We had 18 congregations on a soccer field and a choir, and we celebrated communion together. And that was the kickoff for the month. And I'll leave it at that. And then the other thing that I thought was noteworthy is a first responders lunch that we did. We served about 200 first responders from Florence County, South Carolina. And it was, well, it's always, we do this pretty much annually, and it's always a blessing to those guys and girls that do that work. It's wonderful. So that's 1 minute. There you go.
That's awesome. About how many volunteers you think participated?
They don't use the website. I'm going to say about 200, if I had to say. It's a little bit harder to figure out that sometimes. So
I get it. I mean, I think we all face that, where the website is great. It shares the information, but not everybody wants to sign up, especially some generations.
Try to drive them there, but oh well.
People do, but okay. Who else on this call had a volunteer? Sarah Ventura. 1 minute.
Good morning. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. One of our highlights for this year was a project with the city. We've struggled in the past. We have city council members and that kind of stuff who like what we're doing. They give us thumbs up, but we have had no really inroads with doing anything with the city. We had a partner that worked with us last year, an organization, and his idea for this year was to start with tree planting in empty tree wells. The city has about 10,000 empty tree wells. And so he's like, let's start knocking away at planting trees. So he worked his angle with the city council and got our deputy mayor and a city council member to approve the project without us having to go through all the hoops of permits and all the kind of rigmarole that comes with the city. And we worked with a partner that we have with a business, a landscaping company. They donated 12 24-gallon cypress myrtle trees. They're beautiful, value of about $5,000 in trees. And we installed and planted 12 new trees. So it was a great partnership with an organization who headed it up, with business who supplied it, and the city who gave us the inroad. And now it's opening doors for us to potentially do tree planting throughout the year to continue to bring down that number. So we're really excited. It was a great collaborative effort from all of those angles.
That's awesome. And about how many volunteers?
About 350.
Okay.
Can
All
I
right,
say real
anyone-
quick too, that their
Yes.
partner in Ventura, that with the tree planters, found out and called us and now wants to work in Orange County with our cities down here to do the same thing they did with Sarah. So
Yeah,
thank you,
that's
Sarah, for the referral.
Brightview. Yeah, Brightview Landscaping. That's awesome.
Yep.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Dude, this is cities. This is, I love this. This is what it's all about. That's so cool. Anyone else, maybe you're on the audio, that would want to share real briefly a highlight from your day? If I don't, or anyone else on video? Lynn, okay, Riverside, go for it.
Yes, we had a 4-day serve weekend, which we won't do that again, but that's on
Oh.
lessons learned. We did have 24 projects and 430 volunteers. I just emailed you the stats, Jeff, so you didn't
Oh,
have
thank
to
you.
think about that too much. Yeah, good participation. We had really good, our highlights were definitely is we had great community partnerships join us this year. Some in sponsorship, a lot. We did our second annual, well, I don't know if it'll be annual, but we did our second family health fair as part of our big project. We called that our impact project, which went very well. And we had really good buy-in from just lots of different community members and organizations. Yeah, and just good support. We're good stuff happening. We didn't do a rally this year. And all went well. So that's it.
Very, very good. Anybody else that had a volunteer day want to share this fall? Danielle, we'll have you be the transition. Share about your volunteer day and the future in the coming up questions.
Perfect. Yeah, our volunteer day was the first weekend of October. And I would say our one highlight, we actually stole an idea from Colorado Springs, and we ended up doing like business discounts after our volunteering. And we had 4 businesses give like 25% discounts off of like their total purchase, which is ginormous if you ask me. And so that was just a huge highlight for us to see just some engagement with the local businesses and seeing like, hey, I think this could work for the future and how we partner with them, beyond just like, hey, financially sponsor us. But it was like actually getting the volunteers in their doors, and it seemed like everyone really enjoyed it. And so that was a cool new thing that we did this year, and I think we'll do it again in the coming years. So thank you, Colorado Springs. Jeff, you're muted.
About how many volunteers?
We had just over 200
Awesome.
and 12 different projects, which was cool. Yeah, so that was our highlight up in Washington. So I'm just going to transition here. For the rest of this meeting, our goal was kind of to continue in this thread of our volunteer days, but really kind of breaking them down and talking more about our highlights, like in specifics, and then just honestly having discussion around like, hey, how do you set yourself up for success in this area? Or what's something that you've seen as a huge benefit in this area? And so what I wanted to do is break down first, and we're going to get about 7 or so minutes to discuss each topic. So we've got 3 topics. Our kickoffs are just volunteer projects and project leaders, kind of that genre. And then the post-event, whether it's just right after the event, what do you do? Your surveys, just kind of that follow-up. So those 3 categories I want to just talk about. And so this first one, your kickoffs. And again, this is just full-on discussion. I don't just take it away, but kind of some questions to get your brain flowing is, what is something that you feel really sets you up for success for your kickoff? What is something that you do that maybe may be unique to your city and how you either plan or just develop your kickoff, or maybe what you do at your kickoff. Really just trying to have a discussion around it so that we can just bounce ideas off of each other. And again, maybe just bring some more highlights to some of our fall cities. But again, this is just for any cities here. If you have a spring city and you're like, we do this and it works great, then we want to hear it. So I am opening up the floor to whoever would like to go. Talk about your kickoff specifically.
And again, if you're joining us a little bit late, if you're able to turn your screens on, it's super more engaging for all of us. But if you can't, totally understand.
I don't know how.
Okay.
So one thing we kind of evolved for our kickoff this year was to, we had some real estate agents that wanted to have a table at the kickoff with their, marketing material, as well as some other organizations. We also, it was a election year, so we said no to any politics, but we ended up selling like a 4-foot space for $100 at the kickoff. And that just raised some extra money for us. And so we want to dial that in a little better in the next. And it was, it kind of just created some more marketing as well for people to get involved, and then just spread the word as well. And so it seemed to work well, because we have some other, we have another film festival that's here in town, and it's become really big. And so they wanted to advertise there and try to get volunteers for that event. And so it just had a good synergy to it, just some people that have other organizations that wanted to have their information out there. So it got a little tricky, and because we do have limited space, but I think we can organize it better next year in terms of space, and then advertise it more to have people $100, to donate.
Yeah.
So
but what a unique way to kind of position yourself to say, well, if you want a spot,
yeah,
I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone, our town is only, like 23,000, population. So it's pretty small. A lot of people know everybody. So it works out, but we definitely want to capitalize on that a little bit more. And we also had Supervisor Foley donate $1,000.
Wow. That's awesome.
I know. So that was really cool. So the kickoff, it went well, and we have a local radio station, and we had them there as well. So
okay.
Jade and got the word out, and helped us with that.
So they were actually at your kickoff.
They were at the kickoff. They weren't broadcasting live from there, but one of their DJs was there with their setup, and helped that way. They had all the system there with the speaker and the microphone, so it made it easier.
Well, and some familiarity with, you hear that person on the radio, so that voice. It's like,
definitely.
That's really cool. Okay.
Everyone loves our local radio station, so
there you go. Cool.
So
Thanks,
to follow up on that, this is Kendra from Patterson. We add that into our sponsorship levels. So basically our lowest level is $250. And to a nonprofit, if you want a booth at the kickoff rally, it's free. You just have to bring a game or some sort of activity for the kids. But if you're not a nonprofit, you have to be a sponsor of some level to have a booth at the rally. And honestly, it's been really successful. We had about 30 booths last year between nonprofits and actual sponsors.
That is awesome. That's a really cool. I really like how nonprofits don't have to pay anything. It's building that relationship. But then beyond that is having the opportunity for anyone, but also, hey, you have to sponsor. You have to be a part of this financially.
Hey, by the way, Kendra is our Love Patterson leader. She got elected to city council last night. So
far so good. Yeah, they're still counting, but it's looking good.
The website says 100% in, but you look like you're ahead enough. So yay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. Rick, I saw your hand, I think.
Yeah, well, Supervisor Wagner only gave us $500, so we're gonna have to tell him that Katrina Foley gave more, so that'll change next year. Hey, so we're part of a group of nonprofits in our city that meets regularly, and they were saying they needed a volunteer festival. So we actually turned our launch into a volunteer festival as a separate. We marketed it as a separate event so that the nonprofits could come and set up a booth, and people could come. It was a win if they just came and met our nonprofits, and so that was a big part of that. That morning, so to get them out there as well. But then it was also our volunteer festival, so that hopefully they could sign up for a project and go from there as well. But we marketed them as two separate events, and I think it was pretty successful. We had a way where they were some drawings that if they could win a bicycle or some other projects, things that were donated. If they every booth they visited, they got a ticket that they could enter into to win, and they got to choose what things they wanted to win. So that helped that. So I think that's going to be a thing that we go forward with, is kind of having the two pronged approach to the morning moving forward.
That's really cool. Nice. Anyone else? Or in the opposite direction too, just as we're discussing, maybe there's something you tried for a kickoff and it went horribly and you want to share that in vulnerability and also encouragement to others to not do it.
Daniel, I'll share something. Just logistically, we're always looking to find how to make things better, but also save money, that kind of stuff. And how at our kickoff, we have one pop-up booth, or you go to a pop-up booth to check in for your project. You get your waivers, you get your t-shirts, you get everything with your project leader. In the first 2 years, we had one booth, one table, and 2 projects per booth. Well, as we've grown, we're like, man, how many booths are we going to have to buy? Pop-up tents are we going to have to buy and store and keep and all that kind of stuff? And then it's, 20 booths long, all these kinds of things. So I set up 2 booths and tried to figure out how can we make this better. It's maybe seems weird to someone, but it's logistically worked out way better. So, normally with pop-up booths and stuff, you butt them up together. They're all squared along. Well, it only gives you one face. So we separated them and we rotated them 45 degrees, and you had 2 faces. So you could have 2 tables per side. So we had 4 booths per table. It just logistically worked better because we didn't have to buy as many tents this year or rent tents or borrow tents. So it's just, it worked out well for us. We had positive responses from our project leaders on the setup of everything. So save yourself some dollars and pop-up tents and just kitty corner them a little bit differently. So it worked out well for us.
Yeah. So that is how you have everyone sign in for their project?
Yeah. So if they have pre-registered, they visit their booth with their project leader. And that's where waivers, t-shirts, raffle tickets, directions to their location, everything is handled with their project leader. If they show up to the park and they were not pre-registered, then there's a specific booth for them to go to. And they find there's a master roster. We only have certain projects that can accommodate more volunteers and that kind of stuff. They get signed up there, and then they get directed to their project booth to get the details for their day.
That's cool. I like that. That's very clean. Okay. Anyone else before we move on to a different category? Going once, going twice. All right. I really like those ideas. I love this discussion. I hope it's continuing to give you guys ideas, continuing to kind of just figure out how to do this the best way we can. So now we're going to jump into just kind of volunteers and projects. I know that's a big category, but maybe there's a specific way that you have, like Ventura, I'm going to steal your idea on, sorry if you were going to highlight it, but I know you guys close your registrations on during the week before, at some point. And then you basically force people to come to the kickoff, which I think is actually really cool. And totally correct me in that or whatever, but like that's a really cool idea. And again, just like anything as far as how you get projects, or maybe maybe something you give to a volunteer, just kind of in that vein of thinking there. What is something you do that benefits, something that sets you up for success in that area?
Yeah, I mean, I can just clarify and
sorry.
then I'll go to my little
Yeah.
my highlight that I was going to share. So yeah, we do close registration a couple days in advance. One, it helps us logistically get everything prepped. So we get our rosters done, we get all of those kinds of things, and then we create a master list. So we know which projects have capacity for more. So we do that. And then if you're not registered, and then everyone is encouraged, highly encouraged to come to the kickoff event. We do send out details in email the day before. So if for some reason someone can't be at the park, they do have what they need in email to know where to go, when, all the things. But we try and encourage everyone to get to the park. What I was going to share though, again, I'm kind of logistics. This year we did a lot of reworking on logistics. We wanted to make it easy as possible for volunteers to know where they're going. Many volunteers have never been to the location that they're going to, or it's a big facility. Where do we go when we show up, that kind of stuff. So we wanted to kind of like dumb it down, but also promote what we're doing. So last year we started this, and we got more this year because of the growth of our projects. But we have the feather banners you see on businesses and stuff. It's red, it says Love Ventura. Those go to the project sites ahead of time, and the site liaison puts those out wherever the meetup point is. So if it's at the front of the facility, if it's on the sidewalk because they're doing something out front, whatever it is, it creates a great visual effect for people to know exactly where they're going, and they're not confused about which entry or whatever that kind of thing is. So it's worked out really, really well. And we'll continue to do that.
That's huge. That's great. All right, who else? Oh, Rick, is your hand up from before? Or is it up now? Fine. I'll let it slide this time. Jamie, what about you guys? I'm totally picking on you.
The thing I wrote down that helps benefit us, I wrote to really connect with your congregations. Just found during planning and the day of, they are extremely helpful with the day of. They always have, we have about 4 or 5 different congregations that are giving supplies of things that we are borrowing for the day: tables, chairs, canopies. Love Orange doesn't have, 20 canopies in its garage or storage, or we don't have 50 chairs or whatever. So, one, I like the idea of it because it's a partnership with them, because they're buying in because people are coming from their congregation to help with this beautiful day. Because it's not, even though it's Love Orange Day, it's Love Orange Volunteer Day, it's not ours. I always say I'm stewarding this. Like, I get to steward this thing, which is facilitating this beautiful day. But also, like, when, as an example, as prep for our volunteer day, I was really looking for a DJ, very loose term that I'm calling it. I need someone that understands how to do the music while our festival's going. And one of the guys on our team was like, why don't you reach out to churches? And I was like, what? Because I'd been asking the team for a few weeks. And he's like, yeah, every church has people that do music for the Sunday service. I was like, what? And I was just like, right. I didn't see that. I don't know why I didn't see that. And I did. I reached out with like a day or two, and I got a DJ. He's like a professional turntablist, if that is the correct word. And he volunteered his time and wants to volunteer next year.
Awesome.
And I recommended him for Love Irvine, because Love Irvine was like, do you guys know any DJs? And I was like, actually, and let him know the DJ Drew, it is volunteer. So there's no thought of payment just off the bat, in case he was thinking of payment, just because it can get sticky if afterwards they're like, so my rate, and so Yeah, for me, it was just really always asking the churches, the congregations to be involved in some capacity on the planning team, but some can't because maybe their ministry leader who's involved is busy that time. And, you have all their schedules,
Mhm.
really helpful, but it starts to bring unity among the church body in the city because they're all involved in this one great event. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely say reaching out to the congregations, and they extremely helpful, and they're always, they seem very excited to help. And one of our churches in general they bring canopies, they bring tables, they bring chairs, and like, this is our thing. Like, we help you. This is ours. Like, they took
That's
ownership
awesome.
of it.
Yeah,
and-
the ownership of
yeah,
that. That's really
which is
cool.
great. Yeah. That's what I'd say. One of the
Awesome.
huge benefits. Yeah.
Cool. I'll go. This was just like a volunteer opportunity that we had. And I just wanted better pictures this year. And so what I did is we posted a project that was just for photographers. And maybe some of you already do that, but it was something that, like, in the past, I've just had our board, go around, like, go take pictures of the project you're at. Like, but this year we had 3 different photographers. And so we just split up our projects, and it was awesome. Like, it gave them a job because they loved it. It means that we got better pictures for any media. And it was just a cool out of the box type of project that worked for us, and I think logistically is just better for the future. So that was just a cool thing that really helped us benefit, and so that was unique to this year, and hoping that it continues. But yeah, for the sake of time, I want to move on to our third and last category, just kind of on your post-event follow-up, how you give your surveys. What are there any, like, specific questions that are on your survey that have really benefited you, or just follow-up post-event stuff with your project leaders, with your volunteers, with your board, with your planning committee, however that works. Is there something that has worked for you this year or in the past, that you think really sets you up for success in either that day or the future? That was a big question.
I can go first if you want. And also, I
Yeah.
apologize that I missed the first half of this meeting. We have 8 inches of snow, and my kids are all home with a snow day. And so I was totally thrown off. So sorry for slipping in late.
Well, we'll be praying for you on this snow day.
Well, the thing about Colorado is in 2 days, the sun will be shining and it will be gone and all will be well. But
There
it
you
did
go.
throw off my day. So sorry about that.
You're good.
So as I was looking at these questions in advance, as I looked at the different things, I kind of thought, like, oh, we don't have a lot of post-event stuff. Like, I don't know if we have very much for that. And then as I started jotting down ideas, I realized, oh, we do a lot of post-event kinds of things that really are important. So I'll just share a couple of them, but we do surveys with our project sites as well as volunteers. For volunteers, I think bribing them is definitely helpful. So fill out this survey and you will be in a drawing for merch or a gift card or whatever.
Well,
We-
that's smart.
Yes, it does mean that they're not anonymous, and we say that, like, up front, like, we
Mhm.
need your email address to contact you if you're a winner. So this is not completely anonymous.
Yeah.
But we still do get, I think, more responses that way than if we didn't bribe them. So that's kind of helpful. And then our project sites, we also ask questions as well. But as I was looking through a few things, we asked our volunteers, like, what level of impact do you feel like this had on your organization? And we asked projects as well. How were the logistics, the organization? What did you feel about your initial meeting with your project when you first showed up? Like, all kinds of different details about how did the day go. And then also, do you want to sign up for the newsletter so you can get this information next time? And how likely are you to go back? So have you connected with that organization again? Are you likely to go back there? And then do you have any stories to tell? So do you have any stories to tell? Helps us for our impact report. to be able to get those snippets of like, this is what happened at our organization and
Yeah.
whatever. Another couple of things we do emails that I kind of set up in advance that goes out that night. So the night of the event, I do that in advance. So they're going to get a thank you kind of email. And then also we do 7 days, 14 days, and a month after the event, follow-up emails with our volunteers, kind of giving next steps, encouraging, going back or whatever that might look like. And then one last thing, we do a lot of data research. And so I use the system, the Love Our Cities platform, and kind of take that data. And then I even like take it further and tweak it. So we know the percentage of people that came from churches, the percentage that came from businesses. And I also like send that back to my churches as well. Like, here's the list of people who volunteered at different projects. And so that they have the email addresses of their own people who were out and volunteering with those numbers where they went out as well. So we do a lot of data, and our churches really appreciate that particular piece. Thank you for letting me know how many people were out. And as well as, we send the churches the specifics of their people, and this was the total number of volunteers. This was the total monetary impact. This is the total number of projects at nonprofits and schools.
That's awesome. Yeah, data is huge. I mean, if you can give data, it feels like, I don't know, it's a tangible thing. I have found that even so in our follow-up email, it was like, I tried to get every tree we planted, and like you have that in your email, or every hygiene care pack that was packed, like, and it just makes it feel almost more unifying. Like, even if you were planting a tree, but you see that these packages were packed, like, it feels like you were a part of that. And so
Sponsors need to see that. Sponsors, donors, all that, they need to see all the data.
Yeah. So definitely highly encourage all of you leaders, if you can get down to those specifics, it helps tremendously with churches, with sponsors, but even with volunteers, to realize like they did more than just plant a tree. It's like, no, you were a part of a day of impact. So that's awesome. Gina, thank you for sharing. Hey, we are gonna move on. We've got one last thing we want to share. Jeff, I'm stealing this moment from you. I'm sorry.
I tell you, I'll share it. You put the questions up.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Or the link up. Okay, so here's the deal. We want to serve you guys like the best we can. We want to know, is this the best time to meet? Every year it's good to evaluate. Is this the best time to meet? Is this the best format to meet in? Do you like breakouts? Do you like, 45 minutes or whatever? We just want to make sure that we're serving you the best we can. And it's not going to be, probably won't be unanimous on every question here, but we just have a couple of questions here. If you could click on that link right before you go here, that link in the chat, the form's there. I think it's, I'm going to click on it here. Yeah, I mean, literally 2 questions. The best time, and as we work to build a connection with other leaders and do the best we can to glean from others, would be interested in any of the following. So now we're kind of the time and the following. We did a previous survey. We got some more information from you. So we just want to gather it all together. And then for 2025, we want to share with you, here's what we want to, here's what we want to do.
Yep.
So fill that out. And then as soon as you're done, you're welcome to stay on the call, by the way. If you have any questions, further questions or ideas, or you're stuck on something, or you're wondering, man, how come some of my things didn't quite go as well? Everyone else seemed like they had a great time. Well, we all have challenges, and there's similar challenges, and we all have similar joys. So you're not alone. I think that's why we do this call here. So feel free to stay on the call. After you're done, you can have a great day after you do the survey, and we will be in touch here for December.
Can I jump in, actually? So
Yeah.
we sent that survey. I'm going to send another one too, that if you haven't filled it out. So we sent the one I just sent about the time and etc. But there's this one I'm sending now too. that is even more specific on
Oh,
how,
yeah.
and we had more responses to this, but maybe you haven't filled it out yet, and I'm stealing this time that I have with you now. And this is, hey, what do you like about our gatherings? What can we work on, etc. So if you have the time, you can stay on and fill that out, or bring it, get off and fill it out. But
Yeah, what topics, issues do you want to see addressed? That was
Mhm.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to hear from you honestly, because we're gonna serve you the best we can. That's why we're doing this.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, as soon as you're done, you can jump off if you like. Have a great day. We'll be back a month from now, the very first Wednesday in December. And have a great day.
Bye, guys.